In this episode of Pop Culture Weekly, the cast of the new film Sketch, including Tony Hale and Darcy Carden, and then the one and only David Archuleta joins to discuss his new album. Let's go!
Welcome to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon from iHeartRadio. Your pop culture news, views, reviews, and celebrity interviews on all the movies, TV, music, and pop culture you crave weekly. Here's Kyle McMahon.
Hello and welcome to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon. I, of course, am Kyle McMahon, and as always, I appreciate you so much joining to talk to me about pop culture. I'm so excited because we have a great show today, and we've got not one, not two, but three sets of amazing interviews, and honestly, I don't know how I'm going to emotionally recover from this lineup. We'll be diving into the wild, weird, and wonderfully creative world of the new movie Sketch with director Seth Worley and star Bianca Belle. Plus, later, comedy royalty Tony Hale and Darcy Carden join me to talk about making this hilarious and heartfelt movie. And then I sit down with Archie himself, David Archuleta, to talk all about his brand new album, Heavenly Bodies. And we go deep in faith, music, his journey with sexuality. Yep, you know we're going there. So buckle up, grab your snacks, and let's get into it. All right, first up, we're going to kick it off with the brains and the brilliance behind Sketch. This movie is literally like if your trauma doodles came to life, but instead of getting detention for drawing in class, you end up with a sure-to-be award-winning, heartfelt comedy film. So I sat down with director Seth Worley, who has the kind of imagination that makes you wonder if he's secretly a part wizard, and with star Bianca Belle, who brings so much heart and charm to the film, like you'll just love her to pieces. She's just so great. So here they are, Seth Worley and Bianca Belle. Thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Of course. So, Seth, if I may, I'd like to start with you. This is kind of your big feature film debut. Why was this story important for you to be the first?
Oh, great question. I grew up on the movies of like Spielberg and Zemeckis. Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Jurassic Park are two big seminal movies for me and my journey toward this career. And I just always struggled to get excited about, a first feature that was small and I needed something ambitious, something challenging, something, maybe bigger than you would expect from a standard indie movie. And when I was a kid, I had this thing that happened when I was a kid, and my little sister had drawn this picture of her teacher getting pelted with arrows and just a comical amount of blood in the picture, and she had to see a counselor, and the counselor said, "Did you really want to see this happen to your teacher?" And my sister said, I did when I drew it, I don't now. And the counselor said, "Well, I think you did the right thing. I think drawing this was a much healthier choice than actually doing it." And I remember as a kid just thinking, what a badass thing to say to a kid. This thing that made all the adults in your life nervous and sweaty and scared of you was actually evidence that you are a good person, making healthy choices and processing your emotions in a healthy way. And I thought, that is the adult I want to be in some kid's life when I grow up. And then one day, as an adult, my daughter, who was in kindergarten at the time, started bringing home pictures of just an inventive amount of violence and blood in them, just like an unprecedented amount of gore and blood and parent death. And I'm looking at these pictures and I'm going, oh, you can believe two things at once. You can believe that art is the safest place for violence while simultaneously believing that your daughter's a serial killer and it's somehow your fault. And that tension felt really writable to me. And it seemed, and I suddenly that's when the burst of ideas started happening. And I saw an opportunity to make something that had somehow both the spirit of Roger Rabbit and Jurassic Park combined, along with more recent movies like specifically Inside Out, and I saw it as a Tony Hale role, and that was very much like the genesis of the project.
I love that. And how did you find the balance between, an emotional, grounded emotionally, and these kind of fantastic visual elements? How did, I feel watching the film that you found this perfect balance of the two where it wasn't one of the other, one more overpowering than the other. And I think that was masterful. How did you do that?
Thank you. Well, it's a tonally complex film. Like it has several tonal shifts that we worked hard to make sure feel organic and real, and that don't negate each other. And I think one of the reasons it works has nothing to do with any of us, not to negate the incredible work of our cast and crew, but I think that, some of the people in my life who've gone through the hardest tragedies often also tend to be the funniest people in my life. And I think that when, as a writer, I know for sure if you lean hard enough into tragedy and conflict, you'll find comedy there. Whether you acknowledge it or not is one thing, but there is comedy there. And if you the inverse, if you lean hard into comedy, you will start to reveal things about the human condition. And I have just found that if you trust the story in that way and you trust the characters to go to those places, that they'll relieve the tension. They'll find their way out of it. You'll find their way out of it naturally. And it just can be this beautiful, almost a metronome going back and forth, and keeping a story moving in a way that feels surprising and yet inevitable at the same time.
Wow. And, you couldn't have done this film without a great cast, particularly the kids, the talented young adult
they're so good,
actors.
Right?
Yes, that really it hinges on their performances, right? You could have Tony and Darcy and all these amazing adult actors, but if the children aren't doing their part, it all falls apart. And you guys did such a wonderful job with that. How did you cast them? What made you say, I want Bianca, I want Kalon?
And Q, yeah. I mean, I went to my friend Jessica Sherman, who's a casting director, summer of 2022, and I said, I need 3 kids. I need them all to be incredible, and I need them in like 2 weeks. And she brought me Bianca, Belle, and Q Lawrence and Kalon Cox, who are 3 talent-fueled machines built in a lab somewhere, who are also designed to be incredibly delightful, warm, professional human beings with really cool parents. And they just embodied the characters I had written. Bia, for example, and at a certain point I will let them talk while they sit here and listen to me talk.
Yeah, this is more of just a Seth interview.
Quiet. I'm talking right now. Kalon, I'm talking. The adults are talking. I felt Bia from the get-go had this just punk rock quality to her. She felt like she played the character as if there was this, not just like a complex, maybe like more leaning toward more darker thoughts and tendencies like her tastes person in there, but that person was confident and fully confident in who she was. She was just protecting that person from the rest of the world by keeping it bottled. And I don't know if that was her intention, but it's how she played it. And it was just immediately like, this is Amber. This is who's in the movie. And Kalon, I wish Q were here. I'd speak to Q too, but I'll speak to Q. Q Lawrence came in and was like, I looked at this kid and was like, this kid is so sweet and so immediately like sweet in everything about him. He's a giant heart walking around. I was like, I could watch this kid murder people and I would absolutely like want to hug him and adopt him. And thankfully he didn't murder anyone. And then Kalon just absolutely crushed. Kalon carries so much comedic weight in the film, and he played every line like he was a guy lying through his teeth, but convinced he was nailing it. And it makes this brilliant comedy. So I'm gonna shut up and let them talk.
Well, and for Bianca and Kalon, you're doing this really imaginative film where you're not necessarily dealing directly with another actor, right? How was that for you both, doing the film?
Do you have any say on that?
I mean, yeah, for me, it's just kind of came naturally, I guess, because as a kid, I used to just make believe all the time. I used to just talk to people that weren't even there, and that makes me sound insane. But
I still do it, so you're fine.
I guess it's part of acting.
do it.
So
Yeah.
it helps with acting. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about for you, Kalon?
I kind of agree with that. I mean, I don't play make believe as much as a kid, but yeah, it just comes to me naturally when Seth showed us the concept art for it. I could kind of imagine how the scene would be going, especially for the scene of the toddler, where I'm like telling it to shoo away, because I kind of know what it looks like. I know like the correct angle to like shoo it at. I know like how I'd be talking to it, because it's kind of just like this silly little dude almost. But one that I did have kind of trouble with, because we didn't really have concept art at the time, were the Sharpie monsters. So like I didn't exactly know how to like react to it, because I didn't really have a good concept art of it.
Yeah, those were figured out pretty late in the game. There's some monsters that are in the third act that reveal themselves, but even in that case, it was very much about we just kind of try and tell you exactly where your eyeline should be, like where to look, and you guys would just lock in and you'd nail it every time. It was really impressive.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say,
You agree it was impressive?
Yes, I agree. I was impressed by my own performance.
Good.
I will say, Kalon and Bianca, you both did a great job, and I wouldn't have known that you didn't, know what you were looking at that point. So you guys did awesome. I love Sketch, and I can't wait for everybody to see it. Thank you all for speaking with me.
Thank you so much.
Seth Worley and Bianca Belle. All right, now here's where we really get into dangerously funny territory. I'm talking with Tony Hale and Darcy Carden, two people so talented they could make reading a grocery list sound like Shakespeare and funny. You know Tony from Arrested Development and Veep, and of course, as the voice of Forky in Toy Story 4. And Darcy? The Good Place, Barry, A League of Their Own. Basically, she's in all your favorite shows. So they're joining me to talk about Sketch and the sheer joy of making something this really, honestly, quirky and heartfelt. Here they are, Tony Hale and Darcy Carden. Thank you, Tony and Darcy, for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for your great voice. It's just an immediate like,
Can we see
power.
your
T-shirt?
shirt?
My shirt?
Trippy.
Yes.
That's kind of
that would
sketch
be it.
vibes.
Sketch vibes.
Thank you. Sketch. Oh, Sketch. Oh, I'm thinking like sketch, like sketchy. I'm like,
Yeah, you're kind of sketchy, but that is the great thing about the name of the movie. It's kind of a double entendre.
Yes, I love it. And speaking of that, I love the film. Congratulations to both of you on that. What drew you? It's such a, for me, I lost my mom a few years ago. I've kind of been in this. Thank you. I've been in this world of grief in the fact that I, one, that, but two, started a project with iHeart about grief. And so I've been looking at grief through different lenses, and I thought that Sketch is such an interesting lens to look at grief through.
Yeah.
Is that why you were both attracted to it, or is there some other what was it that brought you to it?
Great question. So sorry to hear about your mom.
I know.
I'm glad that you're working through it.
Thank you.
I know it's a long process, but I think, the exploration of grief and the emotionality of this script was definitely a big draw. Tony Hale was a big draw. The largeness of the world and the what?
I was about to make a joke, but I stopped.
Okay, you can make jokes. It was a big draw. I don't. Okay, I'm trying to think of what joke.
You in fact. I get it.
I don't know.
Big draw.
Yeah, but I didn't mean that. I mean, I meant I was excited to do the movie because of Tony.
Just keep digging.
Okay, yeah.
And
then like the character behind us, Dave, like these gigantic monsters. The idea of doing like a big, like sort of scary, fun kid movie that dives into such like intense feelings and emotions. It had all these pieces that just made me jump at the chance to work with these guys.
And so we've been trying to get this movie made for 8 years, and we were championing it because
it's missing one syllable. Sorry.
Probably. No, it is.
Championing. Oh.
Championing it.
Camping it. We were camping it.
And because just the soul that it had of allowing feelings to be processed, parents learning from their kids. He really thought it was the best choice, my character, to kind of compartmentalize feelings. And then he learned from his daughter, but also knowing that each process of grief is different. It was different for Amber with these drawings, but just knowing what Seth could do with it, with his special effects background, and how it is such eye candy, and it frames grief in such a unique way of, I mean, no spoiler, but just, and also just kind of walking through it and letting parts of it go and letting parts of it fly, and then holding on to. Somebody actually said a really powerful process of grief was, it's like you have a rock in your pocket, and right when it happens, it's very, very heavy. And the more time goes by, you get stronger, so it gets lighter, but the rock never leaves.
Wow.
That's
It's always
beautiful.
there.
Yeah.
So it's just things like that, just framing grief differently. And this movie is one of them.
It's interesting that you say that, because I was going to ask you both if it contributed at all, or if it, did change your outlook on grief, or how you might handle, a situation like this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Tony and I have talked about this a lot, that we're both great compartmentalizers. I do that with, bad news, with grief, I'm really, really good at it. Have been my whole life. Thank you so much. But
Doing a work.
but I've been trying to work on it, and I feel like every time I've watched this movie, it reminds me that it is okay and right and good to go through these things and feel your feelings, and
it's hard. I mean, it's understandable because it's not the favorite thing to do.
Right.
It's not easy to like feel all this stuff, but just that reminder that we're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
We're all going to be walking through things.
right.
If you could be in this world, in the world of sketch,
Yeah.
would you want your inner child's drawings to come to life, or would you want today's inner to come to life?
I mean, gosh, like our imaginations are so alive as kids.
I think I'd want my inner child ones would be a lot more interesting, because they'd be like, the adult ones, maybe they'd be a little too therapized.
I know. Yeah.
But the children ones are like, much like Dave, it's just like just clunky and all over the place.
Right. Yeah.
better movie material
For sure. Yeah.
And how about how you approach, both of your roles? I found with grief that we have to rely on our support systems, our loved ones, our friends, our sisters, our loved ones. Where was I going with that?
Well, you see, it's a great point, because Liz, Darcy's character, is kind of my truth teller.
Right.
Like she was the one that was speaking into my life, and finally he kind of opened his eyes, but just those kind of nudges, not in a mean way, but just to kind of come alongside someone.
Yeah, I do love the way Liz is written, and that she takes it slow with him in the beginning, is just there to help and is not in his face with it, and just sort of reminding him in the ways that she does that, if it's something as small as cleaning up the house, but what she really means is something larger, that by the end of the, when we're getting deep into the movie, she finally just knocks the walls down metaphorically with him, and really knows what, as hard as it might be, what would be best for her brother, and lets him know.
Do you find, as actors, you guys have both done so many things in your careers, do you find it creatively more challenging when you're facing something that's not really in front of you?
I think, it is challenging. We've talked about this a little bit on this movie, because there's so much of it was, had to be in our imagination, that somehow this one was easier to do for me than others. Because of Seth, our director and writers, he had such a clear view of what this world was going to look like, and it was so easy for him to describe, and it honestly was in the script, and we saw some pictures, and it really felt like I knew what I was seeing and looking at, but that is like a leap of faith, and you do have to put a lot of confidence and faith into your captain, and he really beyond rose to the occasion. But yeah, I mean, it is a little it can be a little technically challenging to act with something that is there.
Very. There's also the component of, when you're in a business and people are like, all right, let's make it real and make it subtle and stuff like that. And then when somebody goes, okay, there's a large blue fuzzy and you just go like, oh yeah, let's push subtlety up.
Yeah.
We're
talking
your
like
mind.
feet? No, we're talking like 50 feet.
50 feet.
Yeah.
How would you react to that? It's like, oh, I lose my mind.
Yeah.
Thank you both so much. I really love Sketch.
Thanks, man.
It's so deeply layered and it's so good on every layer. And I thank you both for speaking with me. I can't wait for everybody to see it.
Thank you so much.
Be kind to yourself, man, during this process.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Tony Hale and Darcy Carden. All right, we've got more Pop Culture Weekly coming up, so don't go anywhere, because when we come back in 60 seconds, my conversation with David Archuleta starts, and it gets real. Like, call your best friend to process it real. Stick around. See you in 60. All right. Thank you for supporting our sponsors. We are back, and I am so excited for this one. David Archuleta first stole our hearts on American Idol, and now he's back with a stunning new album called Heavenly Bodies. But our conversation went way beyond the music. We talk about his personal journey with faith, embracing his sexuality, and what it means to live authentically while creating art that connects with people on a soul-deep level. Here he is, David Archuleta. So, welcome to Pop Culture Weekly, David Archuleta. I really appreciate you talking to me, David.
Good to be with you, Kyle.
Thank you. So, we're going to talk about your upcoming new album, Earthly Delights, coming out in a couple of weeks. But if you don't mind, I'd like to go back first, and then we'll come back.
Sure.
So, what would you say to 16-year-old David coming off of that American Idol stage today?
Ooh, what would I say to him? Man, well, I would say to him, I was making some TikToks about this actually. But I haven't released them yet. But I would say to him that you care so much about pleasing other people and wanting them to be happy with you, and it's okay. It's okay to disappoint people. It's okay to not be what they expect you to be. And it's okay to say no and give yourself some healthy boundaries. Even though you'll feel bad about it, it's fine. They'll get over it and you'll feel a lot better about yourself.
Would you do it again? If you could do it or not do it again, would you do American Idol again?
I've always called it a once-in-a-lifetime experience for me. I mean, if I hadn't done it, then yeah, I would do it again. And I guess probably at this point, I would be willing to do it again because I feel like there's something new for me to learn. I feel like I'm a different person in a lot of ways. So it would be interesting to go at it again. But yeah, I think it'd be fun because I was a very scared teenager when I first did it, and it would be interesting to do it now with a little more perspective. And but who knows? Maybe the trauma will come up, and I'll get stage fright and freeze in front of the cameras because cameras still freak me out. Like
really?
When there's like a red carpet or a TV interview or TV performance, I get a lot of anxiety that I didn't used to get when I was before American Idol. And you would think that like after 17 years and doing it all the time, you'd get over it. But it's for some reason it's like maybe I need to talk through myself in therapy about it, and I just haven't yet because it's like, why is this bugging me so much? It's just a camera, but it's like this pressure. Like you like revert back to maybe like the first few times, or when you're going through it during a high stress time, and you like your body just takes you back to that moment, even though it's not that moment anymore. So
It's like PTSD.
Yeah, like it probably is in a kind of way. I had said that before, but like I had all these people getting pissed off at me. They're like, I served in the army. You don't know what PTSD is like. And I'm like, I'm not invalidating your experience at all. I just don't know what other term to use for what I'm describing right now. It's like you get this anxiety attack and relive a moment that happened a long time ago, but you still can't separate your mind and your body from associating, whatever's causing you to. It's triggering you to go back to that place and react the same way, even though it's happened so long ago. And how to separate yourself, I don't know. But I'm sure there's a way. But I still do it. I think I've learned. Ken, my publicist, who's on the call too, it's like there are moments where I'm on the carpet and I just need to like take a moment and just like calm myself down. I'm just like crouched and just feel like I'm in my own little world for a little bit, because you don't know, your body's saying like, it's the end of the world, the worst thing's about to happen, your life's at stake. And it's like, why? Like you're thinking logically, why? There's nothing terrible that's happening, but you don't know how to tell your body that it's not in survival mode right now. Yeah. So it's weird, but yeah, 17 years later, it'll still happen. And I don't know why, but I'm sure, it's not enough to be detrimental to my life or anything.
It's interesting that you say that about the kind of freak out, the panic. I've, dealt with panic disorder my entire life. And the best thing that I ever learned from anybody on this was my therapist. I would always tell her, like, I feel like I'm going to freak out sometimes. And she's like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, I don't know like what that means, but I just like feel like I'm going to like, just have this panic and just like freak out. And she's like, well, what does freak out mean? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. And she was like, well, try. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm just making this up, but like run down the street screaming or something. And she's like, next time you're starting to feel that way, think about number one, all of the panic attacks that you've had in your life and what has happened to you. Did you ever run out in the street, just running up and down screaming? No. And then two, because it started becoming for me, prohibitive to a lot of things in my life that I needed to do, working in certain, environments and that sort of thing. She had said, you're anticipating this worst case, this panic attack, so much, and you're spending so much time on it. And she said, next time you start feeling that way, I want you to egg it on and tell it like, all right, if I'm not dealing with this all day worrying about having a panic attack, so let's just have it right now and get it over with. And that was so terrifying to me when she said that, because I'm like, no, I don't want to like invite it in. And she was like, just try it. If you're going to have a panic attack anyway, what's the worst? It just comes sooner than later. And I'm like, all right. Ever since then, I swear to God, I've never had a panic attack since then. Ever. Since. They just stopped. I still get anxiety or whatever, but I've never had a panic attack since then. So that's what I started doing. I would be like, all right, I'm going to have a panic attack about this event tonight. I'm just going to have it now. I got a lot of stuff to do. I can't, sit around all day worrying about it. Let's just get it on with it now. And then it's like, okay, nothing's happening, and then it never comes. So then I went about my day. It was the most powerful change that I've ever heard that I implemented in my life.
Wow.
So just something, that I learned that maybe it'll help somebody that listens or watches this.
How cool.
Yeah.
And so interesting too. Like, yeah, because your brain, our brains are creating like this feeling of devastation, and like, so when you allow yourself to okay, react, do what you got to do then to protect me, and it's like, oh, there's nothing really. Well, it's so interesting. Well, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, of course. So would you ever do if they ever did an all-star American Idol season, would you be down to hop on?
I was thinking about that when you said that. I was like, what? I'm like, what reason would I have to do it again? I'm like, probably if they did some kind of throwback all-star thing. And I'm like, that would actually be, it would be scary, but it would also be, I think it'd be really fun because I know a lot of the previous contestants now. I've had conversations with them. We've talked through how that experience affected us. And so it'd be fun to go through it again because we like understand what we went through the first time. And it would be fun. I think it'd be nostalgic and a throwback, and I would totally do it.
I think it'd be fun for fans too, viewers. It'd be a great thing. So, producers, if you're listening, so we're going to take a quick break. Be back in 60. You've been very open about your faith in your life, in interviews and that sort of thing. And obviously, you've been an artist for over a decade. Did you find a place where you feel like spiritually and coming out and queerness or whatever it's called, or whatever one calls it, can coexist?
I feel like I have, which is funny. I feel like I've heard a lot of people say this in like interviews in public, but it's like you find your own spirituality with things because I feel like, especially when you're a public figure, you get so many opportunities to travel, to mingle with other people, and you're constantly given other perspectives and meeting people who didn't live the same way as you. And I grew up very much in like a bubble in Utah as a Mormon, and kind of with this one way of looking at everything and being told that is the way that everyone else should be looking at it. They just don't have it. They don't have the perspective we have. If they only did, the world would be a better place. And so there are a lot of really beautiful things about it, which was community. Like everyone pretty much was on the same like level, had the same understanding because everyone shared a common belief and like wanting to serve God, serve each other. And like, this is what's right, this is what's wrong. So everyone was on the same page of how we were living our lives. And when you start, as soon as I was going on American Idol and touring and meeting other artists and fans, I was like meeting all these other people who didn't have the same way of looking at life that I did. And I thought, oh, it's my job to help them see life more the way I do. But I also felt like I was learning a lot from other people. I grew up Mormon and believing in using the Book of Mormon and the Bible. And I met people who were like, we don't have the Book of Mormon and we don't need it. And we're fine with just the Bible. And then I met people who use the Quran and they're like, this is what gives our life meaning and purpose and value and community and helps me to be a good person. And then you meet people who didn't believe in any of it. And they were good people. They're like, you know what? I have principles that I found in my life that I feel help me to be a good person and live a better life and help the people around me. And so I'm like, okay, my beliefs were pretty specific with queerness because with my beliefs, before I really understood how queer I was, queer wasn't okay. And it was something to work on. You're supposed to have God, through faith in God, have him heal you from any queer tendencies you might have. And as I got older, I thought, I think my community just needs some more perspective. And maybe if they learn, a little bit more insight on what a queer person goes through, and it's not what they think it is, they'll broaden their views on this and how God may feel about queer people because he keeps making them. But when I saw that there was an unwillingness to, not just an unwillingness to hear it, but like a rejection of me as a person from, when I was talking to I was very involved in my religion. And so, I'm writing a book about all of it right now. But when I saw yeah, it's called Devout. I'm excited to release it, and it actually was about, I did go through a phase of a process of losing my faith, and it was scary because I'm like, this is all I have. This has always been what matters most to me. This is what's given me purpose. And I'm feeling a lot of conflict right now because I thought my community, a lot of my community does understand, and a lot of them don't. And what's hard is the ones who don't and are unwilling to are a lot of the leaders. Because they're like, if we have to include this, it's going to throw a wrench into our system of, our system is working for the majority of people. And if we have to consider how it's not, if we have to look at queerness and homosexuality in a different way, it's going to throw everything else off. We don't want to do that. And so it put me in a really tricky situation because I was like, well, I can still be queer and be a member of my faith. And it was kind of like, you're inconveniencing our system by trying to publicly be you in our world. Why don't you just go find somewhere else to belong?
Wow.
And I'm like, this is where I belong. I thought this was the only place to belong. And so you kind of are forced to look at your beliefs differently. And you kind of have to learn how to say, well, why is there not space for me here? And they're like, no, you're welcome to be here. You just have to not look at yourself as a queer person the way you do anymore. You got to change that in order to stay here. And I'm like, I can't. I've come to terms with this, and I've been trying to change it my whole life, and I've learned that that's just not how it works. So I would really love to continue conversation with y'all about the queer experience, because there are a lot of people in this same religion going through the same thing as me, and they're just kind of like, no. And so it's like when someone doesn't want to have a conversation with you, even when you're trying to, and you're even to the point of forcing it, and they just suddenly are just like, we're just going to cut you off. So you stop pressuring us into having to have these conversations that we don't want to have. You just kind of are like, you have to come to terms with, okay, I may have to accept that this is not the best place for me to exist. And even though they're the ones who taught me about a relationship with God and faith and purpose of life, I have to come to terms with, I may have to shift my own way of thinking. And if there is a God out there, I may have to just accept that the God I believe in is different from the God they look at, because they want to say that the God that they taught me does not accept me, when the God they taught me to have a relationship with, in my personal relationship with God, is saying, you're fine. And I made you, and you're supposed to be the way you are, which is why no matter how many times and no matter how many years, day after day, you ask me to change you, I'm not going to, because you're the way I created you to be. And even though other people may not see that, I see it. And that's all that really matters. But it's hard when you're also taught religion is community, and being one with the people around you. And it's hard. There's such a conflict when your community does not, it got really complicated. So I consider myself agnostic, because the God that I grew up saying was God is not the same as the one I've gotten to know. So that's where I'm at now. So that's a very long-winded way of saying it, but I still feel connected to the creator of life. And I still could, I'd call it God, because I was taught that God is the creator of everything. So it's like God, the creator, made me, made other people, made everything, the trees, earth, whatever this universe we're in, it was created. And I was created by it as well. And I've tried to change me and what I am a lot. And the creator said, no, I made you. And I like, there's this connection telling you, be who you are. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to trust in that. And I'm going to be who I am. And it's not bad. Even though people have taught me growing up that what I am is bad for being a queer person and living my life as a queer person, it's not. And I'm happy and I find purpose and I'm just moving forward.
When was, if you remember, when was the moment for you where you realized who I am is enough?
Well, I was still practicing in religion, and I was I was following the counsel I got that if you just continue to marry a woman, you will be healed, and you're exercising your faith that you're following God's right plan for you. And I just could tell, I'm like, this is not going to fix my queerness. And I probably could have been, I probably could have made it work marrying a woman, but I didn't feel like I was being honest with myself, and I didn't feel like I was being honest with God's plan for me. And it's hard to just explain that to people of faith too, but I was trying to reject that, and I was like, nope, I got to be straight. If I exist as this, I'm bad. And I got to the point of like, I was considering like cutting my life short because I thought I cannot accept myself this way. And there's just this time of numbness that I went through, and I finally got on my knees and I was just like, God, if you were there, just please change me. I'm so tired of this. And I just want to do what you want me to do. And that's when I had this like pivotal moment. It was just like, I was like, David, you need to stop asking me this. You've been asking me for over half your life now, praying. You say I'm not going to change you because you're nothing's supposed to be changed. And I was like, I don't want to mess up. I don't want to make a mistake though. And God was like, then perhaps you need to make mistakes because you're allowed to make mistakes, David.
Yeah.
I give you permission. Go for it. Make mistakes, and you'll learn that some of the things you thought were mistakes weren't even mistakes.
Wow.
And so that was like the pivotal moment for me. It was kind of like I felt like it was starting over in the most exciting and most self-loving way that I hadn't experienced, because I always thought I was supposed to hate myself for what I was and that I was doing the right thing by doing so. And I realized I can live my life and love myself, and it makes all the difference.
As an artist, did you find that more freeing, as you're going through these extremely personal kind of essence of who you are moments? Did you find that freeing in your artistic work?
Yeah, absolutely. It felt like I became a new artist. So, and it's kind of funny because all the things, I became flirtier with my music. I became sexier. And so it's like all the things that I was told not to do as a Mormon, which is why this new EP the new music is called Earthly Delights.
That's what I was going to ask you, actually.
I'm indulging in like the earthly carnal like world that I was told to always avoid, and that I was going to be punished if I did it and be cast off. And it's like, well, I got cast off basically before I even did that. So I'm like, you know what? It's kind of like tongue in cheek in a sense for me. And it was like, how interesting that when I like gave into Earthly Delights is when I found my meaning and like a real joy and excitement for my life. And I feel like I'm seeing myself for the first time ever, and I get to create more freely. I express. I feel like it's so much fun. It's so much more fun to work now, like making music and making these songs. And I went and I was like, I call it my flirty era that I'm in, but I think deep down, I'm a lover boy at heart. So I'm now calling it my lover boy. It's my lover boy era that I'm in. But I was too afraid to love before. So it's fun to be in a lover boy era. I was too afraid to be a lover before because I was like, if I like guys, that's horrible. So I can't love anybody. And so it's a very fun, freeing, it's a liberating time as an artist and just as a person in general.
Well, Creme Brulee. Well, first of all, Earthly Delights is your first project in like 5 years, the EP, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Creme Brulee is a bop. I freaking love that song so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Why was now, after 5 years, why is now the time that you're like, I'm ready, here it is?
Yeah. Well, my album 5 years ago I released was called actually Therapy Sessions. I was going through therapy at the time. I was just trying to figure out a lot of things. And then I came out 4 years ago. And so I feel like I've been in this for the last 5 years. I've been trying to figure myself out, figure out what I want to do as an artist. And now I feel like I've honed into it. And thus the flirty lover boy era has arisen. It's like risen out of the ocean and made itself known. And it's pretty, yeah, it's a fun time. I've been experimenting with bilingual writing as well. So I've been writing a lot in songs that are both English and Spanish because I'm half Hispanic. And it's just been so fun. I've really enjoyed this next chapter.
And Can I Call You is another amazing one. As you're doing this project, as it's coming together, did you have this lover boy era in mind, or did it just kind of come like, did you go in being like, I'm going to be in my lover boy era, or was it like it just kind of came out naturally?
Yeah, it just happened. I was like, I'm going to be fun and flirty, like the Creme Brulee. I started with Creme Brulee, and just as life goes on, I was just like, I'm writing all these like I don't know if like wholesome, but definitely like sweet. Cause some of them are sexy, but still very sweet songs, like being in love. And maybe I'm like a bit of a hopeless romantic that probably needs to go to a bit more therapy before you can make a healthy relationship work. But yeah, I am a hopeless romantic, and I think I love and the idea of being in love.
Not like a J-Lo though, right?
What was that?
Not like a J-Lo though. Like where it's like, J-Lo, I feel like loves love to the point where she is like every, the second she breaks up with one, she's like engaged to another one like 3 days later. You're not in that era.
Oh my gosh. Am I a J-Lo type of lover? Is it the Latin? Maybe it's the Latin. we're very like, I don't know. We can be a bit all over, but we definitely are passionate.
Yes.
Let's say that. And that's why I love writing in Spanish, because this like, you can get more passionate and deep, and it's just like that, Hispanics love their telenovelas, like their TV dramas, and it's always very intense and dramatic, but it's passionate. And I think I need to go to therapy to not be such a mess. Trying to fall in love and trying to get someone to fall in love with me, because
well, there's got to be tons of guys and probably girls too that are lined up sliding in your DMs, right?
I don't know. I guess so. I feel like my friends, I get a lot of DMs, but also I've noticed that not all the DMs come through. Like someone will be like, I DM'd you. And I'm like, where? And I like look, and it doesn't even show up.
Yeah, it's under like requests or something. Yeah, it's weird.
Oh, no, not even the requests. I've gone through the requests, and they'll be like, wow, I sent you a message earlier today. And I'm like, it's not there. And I have to go to their profile, click on messages, and there it is.
Oh, that's really weird.
I'm like, but it didn't show it. But anyway, so maybe I have more people in my DMs than I would like more DMs, but the type of I wouldn't mind more sliding into my DMs, but I feel like my friends who have way less followings than I do get way more DMs. People like sliding into the DMs and like really hot and cute people sliding into their DMs. And I just don't get as much of that, but
well, you're opening it up now, right?
Yeah, come
slide on into the DMs.
Slide on in. I feel like Instagram's the new way of meeting people, or in person. I'm trying to like meet people in person now too.
And you're about to go on tour, your first tour in a while, so you're going to be meeting a lot of people, right?
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm like, I was gonna ask. I'm like, do you have you had some advice with like the panic attacks and anxiety? Like, do you have any like dating? Like, what have you learned about dating? Like, what are some of the secrets there?
I need like an Avengers team of therapists to tackle that.
Oh, shit. Okay. All right, we'll work through this.
Yes. So for your tour, again, I just like I asked you with Earthly Delights, why now?
Why now? Why not? Why not? It's been like this religious journey to coming into myself, and it's also just I feel like I've been in touch with my body for like the first time ever, oddly enough, and it feels good. It feels good to just feel what it's like to be a human being and all the emotions, all the feelings, all the hormones that you go through, and just write about it, talk about it, dance. I'm dancing now, so it's like choreography and learning the choreo has helped me to be in touch with my body. So, like, if anyone's feeling like they're a little stiff and want to just feel more comfortable in their own skin, dancing's oddly like a great way. Maybe not oddly, but it's a great way to do it because you go out of your comfort zone. You're moving your body. Like maybe you're using parts of your body and muscles that you normally wouldn't. And so I feel like you're just more in touch with yourself. So I've learned a lot from my dancers too. They're a fun time. Yeah.
So on the tour, we're gonna see you doing some choreo with dancers and all.
Right. Yep.
That's awesome. What else can we expect?
They'll hear this flirty lover boy music for sure. And I'll sing some of my old jams too. I'm known for my song Crush more than anything still. And, so you got to give the people what they want. I mean, I want to do, I'm not gonna, I love singing Crush. It's a song I haven't gotten sick of singing. And, I think I'll take moments to share a little bit of, not too much. I used to talk way too much in my shows, and now I feel like I've gotten even that honed in to like a system of this is where I talk, I could share it, and then we'll have fun, have like some more sentimental, heartfelt moments, and then choreo moments, and get people out of their seats or jumping up or jumping on the dance floor wherever the show may be. And it's really just, I think shows are a way of like sharing a journey. You're telling a story and sharing a journey with people, helping them feel like they're a part of it. And for me, like I'm in an exciting part of my journey in my life. So it's fun to include people into it.
Yeah.
So it's fun to bring people along the journey.
I love that. David, thank you so much for talking to me. I can't wait for Earthly Delights to come out. Everybody's looking forward to it. I know they're going to enjoy it based on the 2 tracks I'm in love with. And we'll be seeing you on the road too.
Thank you, Kyle. Good to talk to you.
Thank you. You too. And when your book comes out, come back on.
I would love to.
Awesome.
That would be great.
Awesome. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Kyle.
David Archuleta. You can get David's album right now wherever you get your music, and I can't wait to see him on the road. And there's another episode of Pop Culture Weekly in the books. Huge thanks to Seth Worley, Bianca, Belle, Tony Hale, Darcy Carden, and David Archuleta for hanging out and talking with me. If you loved today's episode, make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you're listening. And hey, share it with that friend who always knows the latest pop culture gossip. You know the one, because they're a lot like you and me. I'm Kyle McMahon, and until next time, remember, life's too short for boring entertainment. I'll see you next episode. I love you. We out.
Thank you for listening to Pop Culture Weekly. Hear all the latest at popcultureweekly.com.
Crush it, creme brulee.